Hi witches, and happy Friday the 13th. While I don't really indulge in superstition, I will probably be watching the slasher flick and eating Chinese food with my boyfriend. But today, before we do all of that, I did want to talk about the topic at hand, the card of justice. Now, if you remember, this card and strength are actually switched in my Scapini deck. So you'll see like up here, it says number 8, but in the Rider-Waite deck, justice actually is the 11th card. And because we're using that, this is not the Rider-Waite, sorry, this is just, it should show you 11. Because we're using that as our like basis for this whole series, I wanted to just show you that it is different and that is okay. It just kind of depends on the deck that you have. So yes, this is my illuminated tarot deck. It's very cool. I'm very excited. I haven't flipped through all of the cards yet, but I already really love all of the art. So just wanted to show you that. So in the Justice card, you will see the figure of Lady Justice, who we often see on the tops of like court buildings or in like any sort of legal, it's like a very known symbol, I feel. You'll see kind of like a depiction of like Lady Justice. In the Rider-Waite deck, she is seated in front of a purple curtain, and here it is green, that is draped between two pillars, and that is to kind of like emulate the High Priestess and the Hierophant or High Priest cards. So the two pillars naturally symbolize law and order, or just total balance and like rigidity, which is cool. It is kind of like that whole concept of like law and order and balance is really, really like intrinsically linked to this card, just her having the scales, being justice, and you know, weighing of like truths, I guess. Her right hand here, she holds a sword, and that is to signify a logical and well-ordered mindset. So you'll often see the suit of swords in terms of like decision making. That's generally what I see. Like when I see a sword in a reading, I'm like, oh, you have a decision to make, or oh, we have to like deal with this problem head on. Now, this is, again, the sword represents seeing the truth in things, like despite a maybe perhaps emotional tie to a problem, and just using logic as like your guide forward to forging the correct path. And her left hand is a set of scales. I don't know, I hope you guys can see that. It's like right here. I know it's kind of like muddy on these cards. But this is kind of like that iconic symbol of the weighing of two sides of a story, and seeing which one, you know, makes the most sense. It also can point to the weighing of emotional and logic, like in terms of mindset. So in this card, you see she wears a crown, and she actually has like a little white horse up here, which is kind of cool. I really like that detail. I don't know that it means anything necessarily, but within the context of the card, I just think it's a really beautiful little depiction. But she wears a crown to represent having a clear mindset and a clear head when making decisions. And in the Rider-Waite deck, she actually has a little tiny white shoe that is like poking out from underneath her dress, just like at the bottom of the hem. And that kind of reminds us that there are spiritual consequences to our actions. So the color white is often associated with divinity, as you can see that in terms of color magic. I talk a lot about color magic on this channel, I know, but it's applicable, I think. So in terms of a reading, right, the card upright will point to, of course, justice, truth, and a favorable outcome in a situation, or perhaps like being on the correct side of like the law or the rules. Reversed, it kind of speaks to the opposite. So it's a pretty straightforward card. It speaks to like dishonesty, injustice, being on the wrong side of a decision, something not going in your favor. So I don't know how much I personally like relate to this card, to be honest with you. I'm still at a phase in my life, I think, where I get very emotional over like situations that I shouldn't be. So in terms of justice, I feel like in my journey, it is time for me to kind of just like come to terms with a lot of stuff that like is outside of my control, kind of like what I was talking about with Wheel of Fortune. But instead of, you know, reacting emotionally to a situation, which I tend to do because it's just who I am as a person, and it's unfortunate. I do take a lot of pride in my work. I also take a lot of pride in like the way I am seen by other people, which I think I could probably stand to care a little bit less about, if I'm completely honest with you. But nonetheless, it is something that I am still working on. Apparently it gets easier when you get older. I don't know. I have not been older than 23 yet, so we'll see. But Yes, so that is kind of my personal associations with this card. I know it is a little bit late, and this is a little bit of a shorter video, but I have a lot of really fun stuff coming up in the next week, and I am filming a ton of videos for my patrons tomorrow. I'm very excited. Well, for everybody, but like all my patrons will see them starting tomorrow, and that is very, very exciting for me. Because I always love your guys' like feedback and stuff. It's just so sweet. So yes, I will see you guys tomorrow for actually a non-tarot related video. So I will let you ruminate on what you think that might be, but it is a fun surprise. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.